Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time to dive back into Oxygen Not Included. A game all about managing liquids, gases, heat and awesome contraptions. This mini-series is intended for beginners and advanced players alike, as I will explain everything about the game, give you great tips, but also edit everything together in a way so you don't get bored. I'll have the map seed and the mods I'm using in the description. Without any further ado, let's get started and have a look at our first 3 duplicants. We're gonna start on Terra with this map seed. I'm not so much interested in survival, rather I wanna make fast progress and build awesome contraptions, just playing around with game chemistry and physics a little bit. Here we are, our first 3 duplicants. We have 1 researcher and 2 builders/diggers. I have installed a mod that allows me to set up the traits. I'm only gonna do that for the first 3 starting duplicants, and after that I'm gonna do it for the interests only. So the traits are gonna remain whatever the game throws at me, but I'm gonna change the interests according to what I need. This is gonna allow me to progress faster since I can accept the duplicants faster and I don't have to wait for the correct duplicant to show up in order to progress the game and show you more of it. We've a Vulcan at the target location, and the very first thing we want to do is pause the game. To manage this first day properly is very important. At the bottom left we have the build menu, and on the right side there are all the tools that you can utilize. I'm going to use the shortcut, so I'm not going to explain too much about it. Before we start digging, let's have a look at the schedule. This is the default schedule, and I think in the very first day we can actually shave off 1 hour of sleep. 2 spots are enough. They actually sleep until their stamina is full as long as they make it to bed in those 2 time slots. There are 24 time slots and therefore we just gained an hour of extra work. Now it's time to start digging. In order for me to plan out anything, I need a couple of materials so I can utilize the build menu. So I'm just gonna let these guys dig a little bit until I have access to most of the materials that I'm gonna place. I'm also gonna speed up the game generally. This ore right here, we don't want to dig up the oxalite. If you actually dig ores, you lose half of the mass. Oxalite is emitting oxygen according to its mass, so you want to let nature handle this issue. Now I feel like we have enough materials to plan everything out. We are going to need a bathroom that I'm gonna place right here, and we're also going to need a bedroom. Those are the 2 most important rooms so they don't pee on the floor and they get a good night's sleep. What you see right here is everything planned out as we needed for the first day. We have our bedroom with 3 beds. It's important that it's actually closed off so it counts as a room. We are then going to ladder down into the bathroom where we have 2 outhouses and 2 sinks. Every time they utilize an outhouse or interact with the polluted dirt it produces, the duplicants will need to wash themselves to get rid of the germs. Last but not least, we ladder down even more in order to build a pitcher pump. This is gonna allow us to collect the water in order to put into the sinks and whatever else we are gonna need in the future. With that out of the way, let's unpause and get this built. And will you look at that, we're not even through the day, so we can keep on building a little bit. I need to be careful. At some point this oxalite is gonna disappear and we're gonna lose the room. So maybe I'm just gonna set up a tile right here just to be sure. I would say we even have enough time to do the proper flooring in both rooms. We're also gonna do that and dig away a little bit. Make this room a nice standard 4 tile height. For the wash basins, we only want them to wash their hands on their way out. So let's make sure we set this up. Another thing I'm gonna do is set the ration box to priority 9 and accept all edibles. I'm doing that just in case we have some muck roots hanging around in the bathroom, and that was actually the case. This is preventing them from actually eating tonight with germy hands. That's what I like to see. Almost done with all the building commands. I'm just gonna set up a couple more that are not gonna hurt me because soon enough the schedule is over. Yeah, they're gonna go into downtime very shortly. And there we go. It's time to eat. They are going to prioritize the bathroom, so whenever there is a stall free, they're gonna take it. Otherwise they're gonna first eat. So in our case, someone had to wait a little bit. Now all of them go to sleep. It's time to pause the game again. Now we have the opportunity to change their schedules. Pull up that schedule, gonna set everything to work. We're gonna rename that to shift 1, and we're also gonna disable the alarm. In total, I want 3 shifts with 5 downtime slots. However, we're gonna start with 2. Right now the base is so small, they are back immediately, can do their eating and pooping. But as time progresses and the base gets bigger, we will need more downtime slots so they can make their way back. So right here, that would be the second shift, and then the third shift right there. Otto is going to take shift 1, then we have Ellie as a builder, shift 2, and Hassan is going to be shift 3. We're not yet done. It's now time to get into the priorities. This is one of the most important screens in order to manage your colony, and I think the configuration I want to go for works pretty well. There are a few highly specialized jobs that I want to disallow for everyone, except for the ones I want to dedicate to this task. Let's see, farming and ranching is also going to be highly specialized, and everything else is going to be up for another priority. Ellie and Hassan as our diggers and builders are obviously going to have a very high priority on building and digging, and they're also going to have a high priority on attacking, since this is related to the excavation stat. Otto, on the other hand, is gonna do researching as his top priority, then he's gonna do building and digging, so whenever he's not researching, he's gonna be just like a builder. This also means attacking needs to be the third priority, and that means we want to set everything else one lower. So researching, building, digging, then attacking, then everything else. As we get more duplicants, we'll have to make some adjustments, but one very important setting I think you should enable immediately is the proximity. So they are gonna tend to do things that are closer to them and not things that you planned out earlier if they have the same priority. They're still gonna run across the entire map if something needs doing that has a higher priority. We have sorted out everything we need for the next day. It is now time to get back into planning. Let me quickly plan out a couple of rooms and I'm gonna run you through them. Outhouses sometimes require maintenance, so if both of these outhouses are in maintenance, I want to make sure I have a third one, so it is very unlikely no outhouse is going to be ready. I also added 2 additional rooms on top. The first one here is going to be the kitchen, the second one is going to be my centralized storage system. In the center here, I'm going to collect all the materials, and right here we're going to have our food storages. And I want to build this room as soon as possible so carbon dioxide can settle down, which is going to provide a sterile environment for the food boxes. However, ultimately we want to get to the top room right here in order to set up some power. This is a simple hamster wheel generating power. We have a battery, and last but not least we have the very important research station. Finally, we have to hook up everything with a cable. You need to be careful. Even the standard cables decrease decor, so whenever you can, run them through your floors. Of course they're gonna require access, so let's make sure we put a dig command. And I also want to leave one column free right here for a future fire pole. This looks like enough work for one day to me. The most important part is we get this thing ready before the next duplicant comes in on cycle 3. This corner piece right here is very important. I'm gonna set this to a higher priority. Oh, actually they're now digging away that stuff. So let's get rid of that. I want to make sure we keep as much carbon dioxide in this place as possible. And since carbon dioxide is the heaviest gas, it's always gonna try to find the bottom. As you plan out your base, make sure you're focusing on small parts or prioritize small parts over others, otherwise you get nothing done. If you just plan out everything in one go, they're gonna be all over the place finishing nothing. I adore this so much. You can actually see in the background, this is the oxygen. You can see how Ellie inhales it and exhales carbon dioxide instead. Absolutely lovely. My intention is to fill up this gap with water. This will help to distribute the heat of the items we're placing in there, so everything kind of evens out in terms of temperature. So for this pump, we want to set this to water, priority of 9, enable auto bottle. So duplicants will use the pitcher pump down there in order to provide the water. Now, until we get the next duplicant, nobody is going to do that because of our priorities. This is actually a storing task, and as you can see, as long as we have stuff to build, nobody is going to take care of storing. Our research station is ready and hooked up, which means we unlocked the research. And this is the entire tree. There is lots of stuff to research, but it's not as intimidating as you might think. In the food category, I want to go for the mess table, but there are going to be other things we can utilize as we research basic farming and meal preparation. We also want to keep on digging and building. I don't want anybody to become idle. Just in time on cycle 3, we have a new dupe ready. I'm gonna choose Ashcan with the tag life support. Let's go ahead and print this guy out. Interests in tidying and supplying. Whenever we print a new duplicant, we want to make sure they are in the correct schedule. At the moment, all the schedules have one person, so it doesn't really matter where he goes. Since shift 2 currently is in bedtime and their shift is going to start, I think this is the shift I'm choosing for him. Next up, in terms of priorities, this is gonna be a very important character just running all over the place, supplying materials, tidying stuff. Ashcan is gonna be a crazy bastard. First things first, everything that needs topping off in terms of life support that has to do with oxygen is gonna be his main priority. Next up, if we want to tidy up something, he's gonna do that too, and I'm actually gonna make him my doctor. The doctor role isn't that important, especially on the map we're playing, but still, it's good to have one, and eventually we're gonna have too many skill points for Ashcan. His third priorities are gonna be operating and also supplying. Supplying is just hauling the building materials to the building sites, stuff like that, and operating, of course, is just operating any given machine, including the hamster wheel. This also means we want to lower everything else. So storing, I want to keep supplying up. Digging, building is going to be lowered, as well as toggling. And of course, attacking. Now, I want this guy to have nothing to do with building and digging or attacking at all. So I'm going to lower these 3 categories even more. Every new duplicant also comes with a skill point. Whenever you assign skill points, you need to make sure it stays within their morale potential. So at the moment, Ashcan can only have 1 tier 1 skill point, except we choose something he's interested in. So because he's interested in supplying, he's gonna gain 1 moral slot, and we'll only use up 1, so we still have 1 to go. However, this is much less important than actually being interested in the skill, because they're gonna learn it much quicker. In terms of morals, there are gonna be a whole bunch of things we can do. We already did, actually. If we have a look at the room overlay, we have a latrine and barracks. The latrine right here at the bottom, you can see affects moral +1, as well as the barracks giving us moral +1. You can also see all the possibilities of the rooms and what they actually require to be said room. Good, with that out of the way, we have someone who's going to charge up the generator, then we can do research. That means we should maybe take care of the actual bedroom situation. We're gonna add a whole bunch of glorious single bedrooms right here. There's actually one more I want to attach, and hopefully we can do that. Looking at the temperature overlay, it looks as though this forest biome is continuing a little bit. I need to be careful on the top. If I dig too close to the hot area, I'm gonna have to do temperature management too early. I'm also already gonna prepare the room that is gonna be on the bottom here, and it looks as though this area is gonna be perfect for a nature reserve. In the rooms overlay, you can see nature reserve is giving us +6 moral, so that's something we definitely want and need. Ashcan is now taking care of all the jobs the builders and diggers are not. So he's gonna carry stuff around, he's gonna deliver it to the ration box, he's gonna clean the toilet, etc, etc. And he can do that extremely quickly because of the skill point we gave him. In order to have a nature reserve, we need a room that is at least 34 tiles in size, and also we need 4 plants. Now these oxalites are gonna disappear, so these 2 plants are gonna be no more. All the others seem to be staying. So we're gonna go up here, add a door right there, and this is gonna be our farm area, at least in the beginning. We need to get into farming as quickly as the next duplicant arrives. There we go. As predicted, Ashcan is now actually charging up the generator, and we can finally do some research. As this happens, I'm also gonna excavate the kitchen, and there's gonna be another bedroom section on top of this. And then finally right here we're gonna have our mess hall to eat, which is gonna boost their morale even more. Let's also make sure everyone has a proper door, including the future nature reserve. We have our first research completed. Algae terrarium is something we're probably not going to use, at least not in the beginning, but it is useful in order to remove carbon dioxide in certain maps. More importantly, we have the planter box and the ration box. We want to set up a ration box right here, and we're also going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Our 2 food sources at the moment are muckroot, which you can find in these little cracks as you dig up the terrain, and nutrient bars, which I believe you can only get through the printing pod, and maybe some points of interest you find throughout the map. Those 2 foods actually cannot go bad, so I'm just gonna leave them in this ration box, but everything that can go bad, I'm gonna utilize the carbon dioxide to slow that process down. So all the cooking ingredients and all the edible stuff, but at the moment nutrient bars and muckroot we want to exclude from that. Let's also set this to a high priority so the food is being brought directly to the chest, decaying as little as possible. Another research is completed. That means we can start and set up the egg cracker. I believe, let's actually do the microbe musher as well, even though we're probably not going to make use of that as much. But it is good in terms of getting over certain emergencies that might occur if you take on too many duplicants in a short time, which we're going to do. We're then also going to set up the electric grill that goes right there. And I believe right now it is time to include some oxygen generation. So let's set up a oxygen diffuser here at the bottom. We also need to hook everything up with the appropriate power. So there you go. And I actually need to connect this to my current power generation setup. Oxygen diffusers count as life support. So these guys are going to be topped up all the time. I want to become more efficient with my power setup, so the next thing I want to unlock is the jumbo battery. Oh, I almost forgot. We also unlocked the mess tables. I'm actually going to set down 9 mess tables just for symmetry. So this is going to be my intended room, but I'm going to make this room a little bit smaller. The thing is, there are 2 types of dinner rooms. We have the mess hall and the great hall. Eventually we do want a great hall, but I don't have the means to build that yet, so we're gonna go with a small mess hall here. If I included this third set of tables, the room would be too big for a mess hall and therefore I would be getting no benefits whatsoever. Sweet, we got our first 2 skill points for our builders and diggers. So that means we want to get into hard digging right away. If you actually notice right here, we do need hard digging in order to get through this material. So this is like the perfect timing. You also get a nice hat in return. Beautiful. It actually helps a little bit if we toggle these doors to be open at all times. It still counts as a room, but they don't have to stop in order to get through. I also put the hamster wheel generator to priority 6. This helps Ashcan prioritizing it over other things more frequently. You can now also see the oxygen diffuser distributing the oxygen. It was getting a little thin in certain areas. Anyways, next research we want to do is the advanced research. I need the supercomputer in order to research even greater things. The jumbo battery has been researched. This is just overall better, stores more power, overall less heat production for the same power storage. It's great. We're gonna build that right here, hook it up. We're also gonna up the priority for this build command to 8, so they get to it first, and then whenever this is done, actually we can already deconstruct this because they're gonna do this first. Actually they're destructing it first. Okay, yeah man, you can do it. Thank you. Okay, now Ashcan, your efforts are actually not in vain. We also have a skill point for Otto, which of course should go into advanced research, otherwise he's not going to be capable of using the supercomputer. Everything you see on the floor we will have to sweep up at some point and put into the central storage area, as it is hurting our decor a lot. You can see all of this is demoralizing our dupes. However, right now we have more important things to do. We researched the water cooler. That is one important thing that might increase their morale. Also, you want to make sure you build it out of the right material. Sandstone, for instance, only has a decor of plus 10%, while granite over here has plus 20%. So we definitely want to build it out of granite right there. Also, we have another printable ready. My next duplicant is gonna be Liam, dedicated as a farmer. I actually didn't even have to change anything for him. I would have chosen the duplicant with only one interest in farming, because they wouldn't only learn the skill faster, but they would also get more seeds for every harvest attempt. However, Liam is gonna learn, no problem, let's print him out. As per usual, we're gonna have a look at the schedule. He can actually stay in schedule 1. Then, priorities, very important. Farmer, you are gonna focus on farming, Liam. Top priority. Whenever you don't have anything to farm, I want you to take care of storing, and that is actually including bringing water to the bottle emptier, storing stuff in chests. It's just very important as well. I'm gonna leave supplying and life support at default, so it's gonna be the 3rd priority for Liam, which also means I wanna lower down everything else. So operating, tidying, toggling, and attacking. And I even wanna lower building and digging to the lowest possible priority. So recap, first farming, then storing, then supplying and life support, then toggling, tidying, operating, and after that, attacking as well, and after that, building and digging. Absolutely perfect. Let's also have a look at the skills. Liam, you're gonna specialize into farming immediately. I'm gonna dig out this section for all the precious copper, but at the moment we don't really need the space. What we need to focus on is the farm. So let's grab some farm tiles, and I'm actually gonna fill up this entire room. leaving 3 spaces for a farm station and a storage. The farm station is gonna go right here. We haven't unlocked that yet, but the storage we can already build. I also want to make sure we actually up this to priority 6. This is the next thing that needs to be built. We can see our farmer is now eagerly storing the water in the bottle emptier, so as soon as this is full, we need to be ready to stop it, otherwise we're gonna have a mess. In this storage bin, I want to collect all the seeds that I find. We're gonna keep it at priority 5, so whenever people have time, they're gonna bring the seeds into this chest. In the beginning, the best seed you can go for is the mealwood. Of course, the better the conditions are for the plant in terms of temperature and gas pressure, the better the yield is. We're gonna copy that setting across the board. Our farmer can get to it. We should be seeing him shortly planting some seed. Yeah, there we go. There he already comes. These farm tiles are the simple ones. There are hydroponic farm tiles that you can use in order to automatically irrigate stuff and even get a better yield. But in the beginning, just having enough of these plants is gonna do the trick for us. Research is completed. I almost missed that. So let's set up the supercomputer station. That's gonna go right there. Cable up. I also want to prioritize that one over the dig commands, for instance. We also don't have a cook, so I don't want them to build the electric grill. This is the important thing, and since we have proximity, they would actually ignore this for a long time. There we go, our farm is done. We don't have quite enough seeds, but it's gonna help us tremendously. We also need to make sure as soon as we have the meal ice, actually we already do, we want to store those in our ration boxes. I'm also going to include the mushroom in this copy setting over here. And actually thinking about it, we could harvest a couple of plants in order to get even more food. So until we destroy these plants, we can also harvest them. I don't want to harvest anything in the nature reserve. I'm kind of afraid we're going to lose plants. We need to keep at least 4. The next research we need to get into is brute force refinement. We need the rock crusher. The kiln is nice to have as well. For that, I'm actually gonna set up an extra room on the top here. So as soon as my duplicants can, they should get to this as well. This now has priority 5, so it's not gonna be done before anything I prioritized. Setting the priorities for individual tasks only has an effect if they have the same priority in this system right here. So for instance, we have building and digging at the same priority. So if I set a building command to a higher priority than everything else, they're gonna take care of that. However, I can set operating to the highest priority. These guys are never gonna operate as long as there's something to build and dig. Soon enough, we'll have to clean our first toilets and wash basins. I wanna be ready for that. The toilets are gonna output polluted dirt, which is gonna result in polluted oxygen with germs. The wash basins on the other side are going to end up with polluted water, which has the same effect, but we cannot store water the same way we can store polluted dirt. In order to take care of that problem, we're going to need yet another room, and I'm going to set that up right here. We're going to do something like that with some storage. We're also going to have a bottle emptier on top of here. We're going to fill this up with a little bit of liquid, and this is actually going to prevent anything from producing gas that usually would do so. Therefore, we'll have no issues with polluted oxygen accumulating. I also want to leave one space free here. Actually, we're gonna dig down here in order to set up the waste room. When duplicants pick up the polluted dirt, they are actually getting germs all over the place. So what we want to set up is another wash basin here at the very exit. I'm actually gonna set up 2 just to be sure in case 2 duplicants enter at the same time. We then want to dig out the rest of this area, and I think that should be good. At least this way we already have the possibility to get rid of the polluted dirt and the water and store it away until we have the possibility to process it. We also unlock the kiln. I'm actually going to set up 2 of them, and I'm also going to set up a rock crusher, which apparently needs power. The kilns are gonna get very hot, so in the future I would like to have a plant that actually helps with cooling down. More to that later. In our efforts to automate the power, we want to unlock Smart Home, which will give us access to the automation wire. Looks like we could use another oxygen generator. These diffusers I think support 5 duplicants, and since we exceeded this number, we'll have to build another one. There are now 300 kilograms of liquid in the upper portion. There is space for 1000 kilograms usually in one tile, so this should be enough to keep things evened out, which means I can deconstruct the bottle emptier. There we go. We actually have our first polluted dirt and we are not quite ready for that. So what I'm gonna do is set up something temporary. Let me actually go ahead and build this with a high priority. I want to go down here, set up a storage inside of the water. We don't want this dirt hanging around here. If we have a look at the gas overlay, we can already see some polluted oxygen is forming and this is containing germs. We don't want that. There we go, storage bin, organics, we want to store eggshells and polluted dirt. Let's actually skip the eggshells for this one. This is just temporary until we have the other room ready. But we want to set it to a high priority. So now the polluted dirt should be picked up. The farmer took care of that and they are going to put it in here. Now the thing is, whenever they interact with the polluted dirt, even though they just washed their hands, they're gonna be germy again. So let's check this out. There we go, they just went germy. And that's why I set up these wash basins. Usually they place the dirt in the chest and then as they get out, they're gonna wash off the germs. I have a mod installed for the kiln that allows me to convert seeds into small amounts of coal. In vanilla, you usually end up with thousands of seeds. I felt like I needed this mod to get rid of them. In the second kiln, I'm gonna queue up ceramic, which requires clay and there are gonna be means to get that. The automation wire has been researched, so what we want to go for now is the coal generator, but more importantly, well, equally as important, the smart battery. There it is, the rock crusher has been built. What we want to do is set this to priority 8, which is one higher than the manual generator. And what we want to do is refine some copper ore. This is by all means not the best way to do it, you are going to lose half of the mass. Let's use up 2 of our 4 tons and get into production. We already unlocked the coal generator. Let's go ahead and actually build this thing. We might need it in order to get things moving. These 2 spaces right here I want to utilize in order to set up composts. However, they are going to produce a lot of heat and I don't want that before we have the insulated tiles. The thing is, the mealwood is a little bit delicate. It can go up to 30 degrees, but the ideal temperature is between 18 to 22 degrees. If we raise this too high, we don't get a good yield. Now, have you noticed that nobody is actually toggling these doors? We're gonna change that with the new duplicant that just arrived. Meep right here is gonna be our new operator. He's got interests in operating and supplying, and actually the grease monkey trait was already there. Decreased germ resistance is a little bit bad, but we can deal with it. So Meep, come to Papa, schedule. You're gonna go into the 3rd schedule, so we have 2 people in each. In terms of priorities, you're gonna be the guy that is toggling everything. And after that, you're gonna be the guy that is operating machines. So whenever there's a machine to operate, you're gonna do that. Whenever I set a toggle command, you're gonna do that immediately. I don't want you to attack so much. I also don't want you to build or dig. You're gonna be my main operator guy for machines. Good, with that out of the way, we can also assign skill points. We want to do the improved tinkering right away, so he does everything better with the machines. Hello! Welcome aboard. And there he is, Meep operating the rock crusher. This is absolutely perfect. We're gonna need that in order to build the smart battery. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We need the research first. The coal generator is built. This is gonna help us. However, this guy is just gonna keep on producing energy even if we are at full capacity, therefore wasting coal. However, Ashcan can then do something more meaningful. I'm just gonna deconstruct this and we're gonna let the coal generator take over. Alright, everything is ready here. We just need a little bit of water. Maybe let's do 2 bottles or so. By the way, soon enough we'll be doing some ranching, so I'm just gonna leave all these hatches wandering about. I don't want to kill them off, so I have them available once we have the ranch established. The priority system is extremely reliable. As long as we have something to farm, Liam is gonna do just that. Now that he took care of the last mealwood, what we should be seeing is him going to the pitcher pump and actually getting the water for our bottle emptier. I love it. Once you understand the priority system, you have the power. I'm gonna let him add 1 more bottle to this, and after that we're gonna deconstruct this. I wanna rebuild the bottle emptier right away, but facing into the other direction, and we're gonna use it in order to get rid of the polluted water that evidently soon is gonna come out of this wash basin. Right now we haven't discovered this yet, so I cannot set it. However, we have completed the smart battery research, and this is absolutely perfect to wrap up this video because we want to place the battery using the refined metal right there. I'm gonna connect this, and now what we want to do, very important, is hook up automation wire. This is gonna tell the coal generator to stop producing as soon as the battery is full. In terms of research, we don't want to stop, we want to go for the park sign. This is going to allow us to make the actual nature reserve, but there's also the farm station and the refrigerator. Oh, hold on. Now that we actually have this set up, let's copy the settings over here. And I'm additionally going to accept eggshells. They can actually be composted. They also can be put into the rock crusher to get lime. And that also means we can deconstruct this storage bin again. I don't really want the polluted dirt in my fresh water. There we go, it just turned cycle 11 and we have our smart battery setup ready. In the smart battery itself, I want to set the high threshold to 95, and you want to do that because the coal generator always finishes the animation, which could already waste a little bit of coal. At least that's what they say. The low threshold, for now we're going to set to 60%, but essentially you can hook up an entire centralized power system with different smart batteries, and depending on the power of the overall system, different power generators are gonna activate. So you can, for instance, use the less resource intensive generators first. Great, thanks for watching if you made it to this point. I hope you enjoyed it, have a great time, and hopefully I'm going to catch you in the next one. Bye bye.